Many people know Diggy Simmons as a son of Rev Run and from their family reality show Run's House. On the show, he was the typical younger brother who was also trying to learn about himself and to be comfortable in his individuality. 10 years after the final season of Run's House, Diggy is an actor and rapper in his own right, working on BET and gaining his own record deal with Atlantic Records. Let's talk about it. According to many interviews, Diggy says that he's been rapping since he was 5 years old.
Well, I started rapping at a young age at 5, and I stopped when I was around 9 or 10.
But the first time many of us heard him spit was on his first mixtape, The First Flight, which dropped in December of 2009 as a DatPiff exclusive. Diggy would disappear and work on his mixtape all by himself without the help from his older brother, father, or uncle, 3 people that had already been in music in one vein or another. At this point, people knew Diggy had an interest in fashion because of his blog, but his music interest came as a surprise. He worked with people like Khalil Sharif, Lil Twist, Karina Passian, and many others. The mixtape was downloaded over 50,000 times.
Cater up what happens later is greater than you've anticipated. Some people love it the way I does it. This why a nigga buzzing, cause they calling me sick, something like Robitussin.
This freestyle helped him gain the attention of a number of blogs and influential movers and shakers in the music industry, including Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, and Lupe Fiasco. Next, he released his Airborne mixtape on DatPiff, which was downloaded over 100,000 times and has features from Chris Brown, Pharrell, Lupe, Raekwon, Jacob Lattimore, and many others. One of his songs with B Major, Great Expectations, was a breakout hit and was used in an AT&T commercial.
The crowd is roaring, it's so enormous, his blood is boiling, his head is down and he's focused, he wishes they'd ignore him. Who in their right mind wants to let his light shine? He ain't even in his prime, pressure of a lifetime.
Around this time, Diggy had begun his clothing line, Shortie's Culture, and had begun racking up streams and downloads on both of his mixtapes. Diggy was signed to Atlantic Records and began making his way into the music industry head first. In 2010, he released his third mixtape, Past Presents Future, hosted by DJ Premier, where he rapped on a number of old school hip hop beats and did a reprise of his hip hop cypher verse.
So I'ma spit this quick gate and let you things get warm. The teeny bopper got you leaning proper, never seen him drop a wax song. I'm the dawn like LeBron, got the heat popping. Like skin like Chico the Barges. I got you locked up cause you know what the bars is. I'm a star kid and I swear if Nicki babysit me, I just might learn what a menage is.
In 2011, he was placed on the XXL freshman list and named one of MTV's artists to watch. A number of singles were released and leaked, including Copy Paste, Click Clack Away, and Do It Like You. His first album, Unexpected Arrival, was released the day before his birthday in 2012. The album featured Tank, Jadakiss, and a number of notable names, including Clarence Coffey Jr., who was not featured but credited with lots of vocals and writing. Other singles included 2 Up, 88, and 4 Letter Word. Diggy received kudos for his lyricism and subject matter on songs like Unforgivable Blackness and Glow in the Dark. Though the album received positive reviews from critics and fans, the album only sold about 22,000 copies the first week. A couple of weeks after UA was released, Diggy's J. Cole diss titled What You Say to Me was released.
The day I was listening to Purple Rain, couldn't believe all of the things I heard him say. Who that, you know who it is. Heard you lying on my sis, telling people that you hid.
The diss was a response to a few unfavorable lyrics J. Cole spit on Purple Rain and Grew Up Fast. Diggy was only 17 at the time, so people were not surprised when Cole didn't respond. The diss track made me laugh when it leaked because it's like a textbook example of a kid roasting. I really like the long arm, short sleeves line.
Jeez, you were such a dweeb and your shirts don't fit long arm, short sleeves.
Diggy claimed that he didn't release the track, but some people assumed that the track was leaked as a way to combat the unsatisfying sales of his album.
I didn't even put it out. That leaked. But it was just like, he came up to me and he was just like, it's all good. I didn't even mean it in that way. Like, none of that even happened, and I wasn't saying that I was doing any of that. So, it was all good.
By June of 2013, over a year after UA dropped, it had only sold just under 90,000 copies. However, Diggy claimed that he wasn't worried about the album sales.
Only because it was like, when my album came out, I was on the road constantly.
Yeah.
So it was like, when the numbers came out, I didn't really feel a way because it was like, okay, the numbers came out, but I'm getting out my car to girls banging on my window.
You seen the mob.
So it was like the support was right there in front of me. So it was like numbers didn't really mean anything to me because it was like I'm going to Walmart with 3,000 of those 22,000 that saw me. So it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Diggy continued to tour on Scream tours and work with acts like Jacob Lattimore, the OMG Girls, Mindless Behavior, and many others. He announced his fourth mixtape, Out of This World, which would continue the flying space theme that his image had consisted of thus far, but the mixtape was never released. Between the release of UA and his second album, Lighten Up, Diggy released a number of singles and worked with Omarion, Ty Dolla $ign, Trevor Jackson, B.O.B., and many others. However, none of these singles led to a full release. He also acted in a BET original movie, though some places call it a television show, some places say they're two different things. I'm honestly not sure. But it was called The Startup. He was in an episode of a show called The Plug and had a cameo in the 2012 film Parental Guidance. However, his parts in Parental Guidance were cut out of the final version, and The Startup only aired for a very short time. I actually was unable to find any online versions of it anywhere, aside from short clips that people had filmed off of their televisions. Though Diggy released a few singles and freestyles through the years, his absence was considered a hiatus because fans barely received anything new within about a 6-year time period. In 2018, we finally saw Diggy re-emerge as both an artist and an actor, and he apparently has a crazy workout routine. He began playing Doug on Freeform's Grownish, and he released his second album, Lighten Up. This album did not receive the reviews that UA did, check out my review on my website, but it was clear that his artistic vision had changed. First, it looks like he's an indie artist now, though he has a publishing and distribution deal with Empire. The album is more vulnerable than his first, though it has a couple of tracks that I don't really like and I don't think really fit in. Similarly, the visuals for the album are interesting. Particularly, the visual for Goin' doesn't seem to fit in with the others. Not only is there a different tone, but they just seem a little off to me. Diggy was known to Dougie quite a bit in the Scream Tour days. But that was pretty much it. So it's not surprising that he doesn't dance in the video. But the shots of him in the car and then going back to the dances in the playground, I just don't get it. But it looked fun. Diggy also used this album to talk about his OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, as well as other issues that he had in his love life and issues that he had with himself. Diggy's been rapping for pretty much a decade at this point, and I think we've seen lots of growth in terms of his subject matter, though his lyrics have not grown much. Of course, lyrics are not the only reason that people listen to rap music. Some songs are just a vibe, some have a great beat or hook or whatever, and that's fine. In fact, his songs Testimony and Anchors are my favorite from his most recent album, just because of their concepts. But I was hoping for a bit more in terms of lyricism. Overall though, I'm just glad he made an album where he felt like he was honest and vulnerable, and that he liked it enough to release it. I became a fan of Diggy in the Airborne days, and I still listen to him now, so I know I'm a bit biased, but I'm proud of the work he's done thus far, and I hope that he continues to work and to take a hiatus when he feels they're necessary. After all, he's human too. You can find all video, music, lyric, image, and other sources in the description box.